So what we're going to look at is just getting you used to the snowboard and how it feels on your feet. So we've got your front foot in strapped here.
Yeah.
The other foot, we say, just like you've got behind the board. And the first thing I'd like you to do, weight on that foot that isn't strapped in. Just see if you can lift the board up and keep it level to the snow. If it's having any worries, you can just press on the little toe to help with that. Does that feel all right for you?
Yeah.
Perfect. The next one we're going to do, same thing, we're going to lift the board up and see if you can spin around.
This is not just Alpine Morris dancing as part of some beginner initiation ceremony. Any time you have to stand or manoeuvre on the flat, it's much easier to do it with the back foot out of the binding. And snowboarders, of course, do not have poles like skiers to propel them along the flat, so you have to scoot with the back foot. It's a crucial skill for getting on and off lifts, and one that can make you look especially undignified if you don't get it right.
So the next thing we're going to do, your back foot can go behind or in front of the board. Doesn't matter too much, but imagine it like a skateboard. The weight's going to stay on the front foot, and then just with that back foot, just small steps pushing the board along. So we're going to head over in this direction here, and it's going to look like this. We'll go.
To start with, it does feel like a shopping trolley on ice. The board is just doing what it's designed to do, which is slide, and will slip any which way unless you take control.
Yeah.
Lovely. Yeah, no, it looks great.
Okay.
You just think about keeping the weight nice and flat on that front foot. It's going to help keep the board going straight.
Okay.
So what we'll do, we'll just have another go in the opposite direction. So from here, we can use the turn we used earlier.
Yeah.
So we're just going to lift the board up, turn around, and then we'll head off in the other direction. So we'll head back this way. So we're going to look at just sliding down the hill. So to slide down, we need to walk up first, which can be a little bit difficult on a snowboard. So the first thing I want you to do is take that back leg, just step over the board. Okay, and then with the other foot, you can just feel the board tilt a little bit. The edge underneath is going to grip and just help us walk up the hill. So we're just going to take one step with that front foot and then lift the board with the other step, okay? So we're just going to take nice small steps all the way, trying to keep the snowboard across the hill all the time. Just up to here, so not too far. Lovely. And when you get there, we're going to put the weight on the foot that's clipped in. This other foot is just going to step back to below the board. So what we're going to do now is turn the board to point down the hill, and when you're feeling nice and comfortable, step on and just practice sliding.
Okay.
So the weight stays on this left foot for you. We're going to turn the board, so it's straight down the hill, nice and flat, back foot onto the board, and then when you're ready to go, we'll just let it slide.
The difference in posture is marked. Lyndon is stacked between his feet. But Georgie is hanging back a little and is favouring the back foot, probably the most common and corrupting of the beginner's sins, but one that is much easier to sort out here on the flat.
So what we're going to look at now is just working your balance a little bit more while we're sliding. So the same exercise again, foot on, and then once you're happy sliding, I just want you to reach down, touch the outside of your boots and stand back up again. See if we can keep the board flat.
Just the right side of my boots?
Just the outside of both boots.
Okay.
And we're going to try and do that twice as you're moving.
Okay.
Sound okay?
Yeah.
A big factor in Georgie's trauma-free initiation is Lyndon's choice of terrain. It's shallow and, just as importantly, has a flat run-out. She can relax and focus on the task in the knowledge that she'll just stop naturally.
Cool. That's it, and just always nice, smooth movements going to make it nice and easy to balance, but that looked lovely there.
This next step requires a steeper slope and a bit of height. For the first time, Georgie's going to have both feet in the bindings. It's easier to sit down to put the back foot in. If there's even a hint of a slope, make sure the board is lying across the fall line so you don't suddenly take off when you stand up, but can hold yourself on your uphill edge. Or an instructor if there's one handy.
So with both feet clipped in, it does make it a little bit more difficult to get up. So just to give you a helping hand with that, if you're thinking about it, the main bit is trying to get your body weight over the board so you can balance. To help with this, if you take one hand, put it down near your bum, and the bum's shuffled nice and close. The other hand can either hold onto the toe edge of the board or just be a little bit out in front. And we're just trying to pull, keep pushing and pulling till your weight's over the board. When you're feeling balanced, you can then push down through your heels and have a stand up.
Okay.
So did you want to have a go at that for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks great.
The side slip gives you control of your speed, and although not the most exciting way to get down, allows you to negotiate pretty much any slope on the mountain. It's your ultimate get out of jail card. With the board across the slope, if you let it run flat, it will accelerate. If you pull up the toes to tilt the board, the heel edge bites into the snow and slows you down. At the same time, you bend the knees to stay in balance.
So in a minute we're going to stand up onto the heel edge and balancing in a position. If you imagine you're sort of hovering above a chair in that sitting position, then when you're ready to start sliding, just going to gently, slowly stand up, relax the ankles so we start moving. When you've had enough, you want to come to a bit of a stop, just gently sort of sitting back down again, pulling up with the toes and holding that position. That's going to help you slow down.
Okay.
Sound okay?
Yeah.
It's going to look a little like this. I've got this position for the stop. We're going to go
And recapping on the getting up procedure. She's straight into it. It's textbook. She's balancing over the heel edge. She comes to a stop. And to move off again, she makes a lateral movement over the board to release the grip under the heels, and then board and body move as one.
So now we've got the heel edge side slip, we're going to look at the toe edge side slip. So the same starting and stopping movement using the edge of the boards, but we're going to be skidding backwards down the hill.
Okay.
Only problem we have now we're clipped in is we're facing the wrong way for the exercise. So what we're going to do is we're going to spin round on the bum, like this, just so the board's pointing down the hill. We're going to take this uphill leg and try and kick it over the top just so we roll down the hill. So it's going to look like this. When we get to this position, just shuffle the board so it's across the hill and we're ready to go. So if you want to have a go at that for me. Nice. So we've just got a slightly different body position this time. So the weight's going to be over the toe edge of the board. So as you're standing there, just be thinking about head and chest up. Okay, so your bum's tucked in a little. We've got the shins pressing into the boots. Okay, that's just going to help keep us balancing over that toe edge.
Okay.
Same as before, when we want to start sliding, gently rising up so the board flattens and sinking down with those shins in the boots to stop. Happy enough?
Yeah.
Let's have a go. So take one of your hands, and if you push yourself up.
It's a little spookier sliding backwards, so Lyndon stays close.
That's it. And we'll go for a nice sort of smooth stop, feeling for those shins. Yeah, lovely. So do the same again. This time just think about keeping your head up. So it's going to help you balance. We've got nice pictures behind us. You can start staring at that. And then we'll go for the stop again. Nice.
The key point George is learning at this early stage is that it's the feet that control the board, not the upper body. But the upper body won't be relaxed unless you relax, and having a psychological and physical prop next to her sucks up the fear. And look at that, the perfect stance. Head up, shoulders and hips over the feet, bum in, knees gently flexed, in fact the ideal platform from which to start making turns. The side slip gives you speed control. The diagonal side slip, the next progression on the road to full turns, starts to give you directional control.
So now we're going to look at the diagonal side slip on the toe edge. So we're going to be able to control our direction a little bit more, just in case you need to move around. So we've got the starting and stopping as we've done already. If we want to move to the left, all we're going to think about doing is look and then lean to the left, shifting that weight towards the left-hand side of the board, okay? But still keeping it over the toe edge. And if you've had enough of going in that direction, just going to come back to the centre first, back to that side slip, then you can sink down, control the speed if you need to.
Okay.
Once you're happy with that, we can then look and lean to the right, do the same movement in the opposite direction. Sound
Right.
okay?
Yep.
So it's going to look a little like this, okay? So we're going to go.
It's the same game on the heel side. Shift the weight to one foot to slide in that direction. Bring the weight to the middle to go straight down and sink down on the heels to slow down. Shift the weight to the opposite foot to slide in the other direction. The final build-up exercises en route to the basic turn proper is the falling leaf, which introduces the element of foot steering. In the diagonal side slip, you tracked across the slope with a simple fore-aft weight shift. But now you actively steer the board towards the fall line before turning back up the slope to slow down and start making proper curves.
Now it's time to look at sort of steering the board with our feet. Okay, so the board's designed to bend two ways. It's going to bend like a banana. It's also going to twist along its length. So if you push one toe up and the other toe down for me, then vice versa. And look at the edge, you can see that twisting movement.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so that's what we're going to use for this next exercise, for falling leaf on the heel edge. So we call it a falling leaf just because of the track we leave in the snow. It's quite similar to a leaf falling out of a tree. And we're going to use this foot steering to turn the board down the hill, building up a little bit of speed and leading on towards the basic turns eventually. So thinking about the movements, we're going to stand up, start sliding, move across, say to the right if we go in that direction, and then to steer the board, just gently shifting the weight towards the toes. That's going to steer us into the fall line. When we've had enough, just reverse the move, so back to the heel, back to the centre. Only when you're at the centre, then we can think about slowing down. Okay, and then the other direction, just up, across, towards the toes to turn down the hill, back to the heel, back to the centre, which is the important bit, sinking down to slow down as we need to.
Okay.
If you're happy with that, I'll show you what it looks like.
Okay.
Start from the side slip, then shift the weight, in this case to the right foot, and bend that ankle to weight the toes and twist the board. That action steers it down the hill. Embrace the acceleration and then turn back up the hill by pressuring the heel again and centering your weight between the feet. Same game, but this time leading with the left foot. Bend the ankle to release the grip under the heel, and when you've had enough, rock back between the feet and onto your heels.
So this time we're going to look at the falling leaf but on the toe edge. So we're going to steer the board with our feet towards the fall line. So we're gradually accelerating, building up speed and then slowing down. Then we're going to repeat exactly the same thing in the opposite direction. Okay, so the movement pattern we're going to look at, once we're in that toe edge side slip, if I want to turn to the left, I'm going to lean to the left, our diagonal side slip, and just gently and smoothly shift the weights onto the heel a little. The board's going to start to turn down the hill. We've had enough, we want to slow down, move the weight back towards the toe edge, come back to the centre and then slow down from there. When we're happy with that, just repeat the whole process but in the other direction. So lean, steer, come back to the toes, back to the centre. When you're back to the centre, that's when we can think about slowing down. Sound okay? Brilliant. So it's going to look like this.
The basic turns are really just linked side slips. The exercises so far give you the technical tools to do it. It's just a case of putting it all together. You're actually crossing the fall line for the first time, and for that to happen you have to change the edge, in this case from the heel to the toe. That's the main focus. Let's listen in on the lesson.
If we think back to the falling leaf that we've got, we went both directions with that. This time we're just going to lead with your lead leg, your right foot. So the movement, just as we were thinking, is we're going to lean onto that foot, steer into the fall line, straight down the hill, but this time carry it all the way around in a big C shape.
Okay.
So to carry it around and finish that turn, we've started with the front foot, we need the back foot to match and finish that turn. So,
So we're only doing one turn?
Well, we're going to do that first turn from here onto the toe edge, and then we're going to try and come back around the opposite direction onto the heel edge. We say the big important bit is that the front foot steers us into the fall line, and it's the back foot matches the front foot to help us steer out. Sound okay?
Yeah.
So here's what it's going to look like.
For the first attempt, Lyndon places himself downhill of Georgie and acts as a physical and psychological mattress. Hanging on to her, he actually pulls her into the fall line, and so she gradually realises it's okay to point downhill and lean on the front foot.
Brilliant. We'll do one more on your own, just down to the bottom. That was looking really nice. So if you're feeling confident, what we're going to do is the same thing again. I'll walk down nearby, so if anything goes wrong, we can help you, but you're going to do the whole thing on your own this time.
Okay.
If you're feeling good, we'll have a go.
Right, fun.
That's it. So we'll just slip down just a little bit onto the hill. That's it. And when you're ready, steer in with that front foot, around onto the toes. Nice. And then we head back round to the heels. Perfect. And then one more round to the toes.
The aim is to change smoothly from, in this case, the heel to the toe edge by using the front foot to flatten the board, let it run into the fall line before pressuring the toes of the back foot to finish it off. Technically, it's no harder than the falling leaf. The main challenge is resisting the temptation to lean back away from perceived danger. In the basic turn, you run a flat board into the fall line. You change the edge in the fall line itself to produce a sliding, skidded turn. One of the main differences in the standard turn is that you change the edge before the fall line. With his board on, Lyndon is more mobile and can lead her fast around the bend into a glorious waltz, the aim being to show her that a little speed makes the edge change so much easier.
That's it. We'll come round to the heel again. So lean back a little more. That's it. Okay.
With just a little off-camera practice and absolutely no editing, Georgie is completing toe and heel side turns on her own. The difference in the standard turn is that you need more speed. The central theme is your platform to conquer the mountain and the 5 strands. The philosophy of the central theme is that of never throwing anything away. Every stage